Now, let's go to the United States, where Joe Biden has at least won something, the Democrat primary in South Carolina. It's pretty meaningless, of course, because there is no significant challenger for the Democrat nomination. The sitting president soundly defeated a couple of long-shot candidates, and then he tried to gee up his supporters.
South Carolina, we did it again. You did it for me again. Thank you, thank you, thank you. 2020 and now again in 2024. Now let's go win the whole thing. Let's win it all.
He should be coaching in State of Origin, shouldn't he? Hardly inspiring. Meanwhile, there's been public speculation about what I've long regarded as a trump card for the Democrats, if you'll excuse that pun. The trump card for the Democrats would be to get Biden to pull out and get Michelle Obama to run for the presidency. Yep, the former First Lady, she's widely admired. She's had a bestseller memoir. She's a Princeton graduate, a Harvard-trained lawyer, an accomplished public speaker, and she's already spent 8 years in the White House alongside her husband Barack, of course. US politics is pretty crazy these days, so getting Michelle and Barack Obama back in the White House in reversed roles is not the wildest idea at all. I got the latest on this from our US commentator, Kristin Tate.
Yeah, you're right. It's becoming an seemingly an increasingly likely chance that Michelle Obama could potentially replace Joe Biden. This is something that not just politicos are talking about, but everyday Americans. I hear my neighbors and friends and family talking about this all the time. And it's because, Chris, the Democrats have an incredibly weak bench. Think about it. If they need to get rid of Joe Biden and replace him, who are they going to replace him with? Everyone's been talking about Gavin Newsom for the past couple of years, but Newsom really embarrassed himself recently in a Fox News debate against Ron DeSantis. He performed horribly. Meanwhile, his state of California is in shambles. People are fleeing it at record rates. So he might not work. You have Kamala Harris, who is just so unlikable. She was a dud in the Democratic primary. She doesn't poll well with women or Black voters. I mean, everybody just dislikes her. So who are they going to replace Biden with? Michelle Obama would be the perfect choice. She's incredibly likable. 60% of Americans see her favorably. She is not seen as particularly polarizing. She has a kind of warm, inviting personality, and she's a woman, and she would bring out that woman vote, especially among college-educated suburban women. The Democrats are already doing really well with that group, but she would really solidify it for them. So the big question is, can they convince Biden to step down, and then can they convince Michelle Obama to run? Those are very big questions, but hey, it's looking more likely the more time goes on and the more feeble and weak Biden appears.
A lot has to fall into place, but the stakes are very high. And I've thought of this as a wild card for a long while. In fact, I put some money on Michelle Obama as the next president last year, and it was 23 to 1. I noticed today it's paying only $7.50 in terms of her getting the Democrat nomination. So people are starting to take it more seriously. I mean, the point is that she's a Harvard-educated lawyer. She's been a public official, and she's a competent government public speaker. Of course, she had 8 years in the White House, so she would have learned a lot as First Lady. So it's not the craziest plan at all. And do you think if she got the nomination, she would be capable of beating, say, Donald Trump?
I do. I actually think she would win in a landslide. She's very dangerous for Republicans. Republicans should be extremely worried about a Michelle Obama potential nomination. Moderates who I talk to all the time, moderate voters who say they're unhappy with Joe Biden and how the country's going, say they would vote for Michelle Obama. Americans, though, should not be fooled. Michelle Obama is the same radicalism of Joe Biden and, of course, of Barack Obama, just kind of wrapped in a nice package.
Absolutely, yeah.
More likable, but it's the same exact agenda, maybe even more radical than Joe Biden. But yes, I do think she would probably beat Trump in a landslide.
Yeah, the same woke left politics, but in a very young and articulate package. So I agree with you. I think she would win, and that's why I've always thought it could happen, because in the end, the Democrats want to hold on to power, and she's an obvious way that they might be able to do that. Look, the other very famous and popular woman who suddenly played into the American political scene is Taylor Swift, of course. Now, she's getting a lot of attention because she's going to be jetting back from from Japan to see her boyfriend play in the Super Bowl Monday morning, our time, on Sunday night, your time. But also a lot of talk that Joe Biden is desperate to get her endorsement. Is he going to get it?
I mean, he might get it. I don't think it will particularly change very much. There's always this big question in America about who will the young people vote for, who's going to get the millennial vote and the Gen Z vote. And a lot of, news is made whenever these big celebrities come out and make endorsements, but it usually doesn't move the needle very much. Young people, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on who you ask, tend to just not vote in very high numbers. The ones who do, most of them are already voting for Democrats. And I think especially with this upcoming election, Chris, most Americans who are going to vote already have made up their minds. No Trump voting millennial is going to be like, oh, you know what? Taylor Swift told me to vote for Joe Biden, so I think I'm going to vote for Biden now. I just don't really see that happening. But it might boost his numbers a little bit with the younger generation, but probably not as much as the media likes to hype it up.
Yeah, I tell you what really would trouble a Donald Trump second presidency, what really would help the Democrats, is Taylor Swift endorsing Michelle Obama. We'll see if that transpires. Great to talk to you again, Kristin.
Thank you as always, Chris.
Could you imagine it? Something's got to give. I cannot believe that Joe Biden will run again. I just have not, as you know, for a year or more, I've been saying I can't see it happening. Let's see what gives, because if it's going to be Biden versus Trump, I think Biden's going to be put through the mincer.